What is your American dream?
I guess to make enough money so when I get a family, or if I don't make a family, to provide for my family that raised me.
Being happy. Yeah, it's the most important.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. And just like that, we're back.
We're so back.
Hello, Vanessa. Nesquik Contreras. I want you to know, folks, I have not seen Vanessa Nesquik Contreras for as long as you have, right?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So I think I owe everyone an explanation.
We'll
a small explanation about what happened.
Yeah,
All
for
right. So rewind back to June of 2022 when we were doing Bradshaw Live. And that weekend I went out for salmon in New York City. And
I love salmon.
Yeah, I'll make the story very, very short, okay? And my stomach started hurting me, and I'm saying, damn, some bad salmon I ate tonight.
Right.
But my stomach was hurting me more and more, and I ended up going to the emergency room. It turns out my appendix burst.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had to have emergency surgery. And then after the emergency surgery, I had internal bleeding, a lot of complications from the surgery. And then after the internal bleeding, I had infection. And I was in the hospital for 35 days straight.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like with tubes down my throat and everything. So it was bad.
I can't even imagine you still for 35 days.
Yeah, there was a few days where I'm like, am I going to make it?
Oh,
but I'm back.
You totally made it.
But
and
I
you're
made
here
it.
with the squad.
Yeah, I was like, and then way back up again now.
Yeah, you're up.
Yeah, so
but you look good.
Well,
you look great.
Well, thank you very much. It took me a few months to recover, and that's why we were, I think I owe the squad and everybody an explanation, like, what happened to Brad? All of a sudden, he says, I'll see you Monday, and now it's Tuesday, November 1st. What happened to Brad?
I mean, you were still on socials, so everyone should be following us on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere else, because we didn't lose you there.
And Vanessa Nesquik Contreras, last time we saw Vanessa, she was joining us from Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
And now you're back to Jersey.
And now I'm back home in Jersey.
Does anyone say Jersey? No.
No one says. People think people say Jersey, but no one. Some people might say Jersey.
No, they say, "Hey, I'm from New Jersey."
I'm from New Jersey.
Hey, don't mess with New Jersey, right?
No, yeah, we're right over the river, just having a good time. I'm just happy that we're back, and our boy Yo-Yo will be with us soon.
Yes, Yo-Yo is yo-yoing around somewhere, but he will eventually be joining us at some point, probably in the month of December or January, when he's done yo-yoing around. But he's still with us, folks. So when people say, "Where's Yo-Yo?" he'll be back eventually as well.
Be back.
But you want to know what we have to do, Vanessa? We have to say hello to everybody.
Listen, you know who's here and steady? The squad.
That's right.
I need us to say hello to them.
Dion Reed, squad. By the way, Vanessa, I'm going to let you pick. All right. We have a bunch of Bradshaw Live mugs to give out. How do you want to give them out today?
I don't know. We're such high energy in here today. So let's see. Whoever can help us get the most thumbs up, whoever's promoting the most likes on both YouTube and Facebook.
Fine.
Most.
All right. I will let Vanessa pick at the end. One winner for Facebook, one winner for YouTube, and we'll decide at the end before speed round. And we'll send you guys out a mug to the winner. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, let's say hello to the squad. Dion Reed, me missing Brad.
Yeah.
Did I say that? I didn't even say that right. That was the worst part ever. I apologize.
You're better than this,
Yes,
Brad.
I'm much better than this. I'm a little rusty still. Jessica Levy, Joelle, how are you? Lolith Daly, squad up. Elizabeth Francis, Paul Kush. It's been a long time. It certainly has. Elsa Leslie, squad up. How are you? Dion Reed, squad up. All of these familiar names and faces.
I will say, come to think of it, I actually did get to see Jessica Levy, Joelle Reed, because we did some We did some squad games.
Oh, did you while I was
Yes.
recuperating?
While you were away, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But don't tell anybody who won.
No,
okay?
I won't.
All right, we have them in the vault. We'll pull them out eventually. Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Joan Cowell, squad up. Elsa Leslie, I said. Elizabeth Francis, I said. Willie L. Williams, squad up. Thanks for joining. Mika Hewitt, squad up. And I see Nicola Samuels is watching, and Odia is watching as well. Darshini Ramlal, squad up. How are you? And I want to make sure I say hello to everybody. So it's gonna be a long roll call today. Keisha Simone Rennie, I'm happy you're doing great. Thank you very much. And Nikki, forever bless. Nikki Forever Bless says, I was the first one to say hello, squad, so I am getting a mug.
Oh, well.
How did she make up these rules?
You know the squad is very opinionated.
All right, first person to say hello, I don't know who it was on YouTube, will win a mug too. All right, just because it's our first day, I will let Nikki Forever Bless make her own rules up, send her a mug too. And now everyone's going to be like, make up a rule that they get a mug as well, right? Joyce Henry, squad up. How are you? And
Exactly.
Yolia Sarkis, Tenuis, squad up, Brad, Tanya Love. And let's go over to YouTube. The first person I see is Anna Chandra.
That's the first person I see.
All
Anna
right, so
Chandra.
she's getting a mug too.
Yeah.
All right, congratulations. I'm sorry, not Anna, Anu Chandra. Rob J. Roberts, sup? He's so cool. Sup?
Sup.
Sup? Anna K. Young.
Sup.
Sup? Hi, how are you? Lee, squad up. Leah C. with a pre-schmooze question of the day.
Yeah.
Can I get a waiver to go home to forgive my unlawful presence? You can if you can show extreme and unusual hardship to a parent or a spouse, but not a child. There it is, the pre-schmooze question of the day. Counselor saying squad up. Everyone say hello to our executive producer, Jill Gould, saying squad up in the comments. And Novia James, welcome back. Sol Gara, how are you? Hamza Muhammad, Flip Moravik, squad up. Good to see you again, Brad. Show forever. I like that. Miss Sunshine, Mario Mendoza, squad up. Susie Shaw and Orlando saying hello. Eunice Audrey saying hello. Nisha J, Vinoy Vlog, Kavar Harris, Shanique M, Eunice O'Deary, squad up. Pramit Maharjan. By the way, we're not going to do this every show, but I just want to make sure it's a special one. Samuel O, squad up. Susie Shaw, Hamza Muhammad, Alejo 224, Denise Johnson. Welcome everybody, one and all. And you ready to get going, Vanessa?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, squad. So remember to share because we are about to start schmoozing with Brad, and he'll fill us in on the latest headlines, including what some big U.S. firms are doing to try to protect dreamers as DACA hangs in the balance, and what some experts say they will really be doing if they want to help.
And it is Tuesday, so we're going to sip some tea, me and Nesquik.
Yep.
You haven't heard that name in a while, right?
I haven't. I missed it.
Yeah, so me and Nesquik are going to sip some tea on celebrity news, like the little-known fact about Hollywood actress Julia Roberts. By the way, I did not even know about this until Jill brought it to my attention.
I know. I can't wait to hear about it.
And, of course, you can call us to schedule a consultation to speak to me or any of our fantastic attorneys here at Spar & Bernstein, our sponsor. And just for complete transparency, I am the president of Spar & Bernstein. Right? We like to be transparent. I think everybody knows that. The telephone number is scrolling at the bottom of our screen for the entire show. That's how you can reach us. 1-800-529-5465. Internationally, it's +1 212-227-8933. It is also the telephone number to call and get your immigration questions asked and answered. If this is your first time watching our show, which I doubt it is, but if this is your first time watching our show, in about 15, 20 minutes from now, after we schmooze, after we drink some tea to take a break, I'll be answering your immigration questions. You got to call into our show right now, 1-800-529-5465. International +1 212-227-8933. And later in the show, we're going to visit New York City's very first Japan Day Parade. And I think, Vanessa, you were there, right? There you are.
Yeah, that was a great day.
You spoke with some of the attendees and the performers.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Japan is on my bucket list, by the way, of like, if I put a bucket list together of top 5 places that I have not been to yet in my life.
Yeah, I was going to say, you travel so
I've
much.
traveled
You've
a lot.
probably gotten close, but you haven't made it all the way over.
Correct.
Yeah.
I've flown over Japan, but I've never actually been. But I've been to almost every West Indian country at least once in my life, and I've been all over the world. But I've never been to Japan, and that is on my bucket list of 5 places. I have a list of 5 that I haven't been to that I want to go to.
Yeah. I want to go to Japan too.
Yeah, especially for the cherry blossoms.
Oh, the cherry
But they're in the
blossoms.
spring.
I think Bradshaw Live should go cover
Bradshaw
it. We
Live-
should take the whole show
Bradshaw
to
Live to
Japan.
Japan. I like that. That's a good idea. All right, you ready? Our first schmooze in 6 months. You ready?
Gee, let's get
All right,
into
let's
it.
do it.
All right. Let's start schmoozing with Brad.
So, I mean, there's so much going on in the last 6 months. We have an election coming up, war in Ukraine, inflation going through the roof.
Recession. People are speaking of recession.
Recession, the January 6th Commission, the whole thing with the, fake stolen elections. Of course, a lot of things going on in celebrity news with Kanye and we're going to get to that all next week.
Right.
All right,
It's
because it's just a lot, and it's our first show back, and let's just have some fun, right?
Yeah, let's just keep today fun. We're already having so much fun with the
All right,
squad.
so it was Halloween last night.
Yes.
Did you get dressed up as anything?
I didn't, but it was my birthday this weekend, and I had a disco party.
Very nice.
So I dressed up like the 70s.
Oh, very nice.
That's a costume. That's as close as I got.
Yeah. I walked up yesterday to the Halloween parade in Greenwich Village, and there was a lot
to see there.
There was a lot of crazy people out.
People get really creative.
Yeah. And I want you to know something. You don't know who's crazy and who's just a really creative person. You're like, there's the person with a mask and a huge bat, and I'm like, is this a creative person or a really crazy person that's going to kill me?
You don't know.
But they're so good. You have no idea.
They're committed.
They are.
People
they
go
are.
all the way for Halloween.
But I didn't watch the whole thing because it started to rain on me. So I'm like the Wizard of Oz person. You'll
melt.
I melt if it starts
rains,
raining.
yeah, me
so
too.
I'm like, forget it. It's raining.
We're made
I'm
out
going
of
home.
sugar, Brad.
Yeah.
You put us underwater, we melt.
By the way, do you know what where the tradition came from?
I didn't until I was looking into some schmooze notes.
Yeah, it dates back to ancient times when people across Ireland celebrated Samhain, which is a Gaelic festival signaling the end of the harvest season. It came from the Irish.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Bonfires were lit and rituals were performed. This is going back to the Middle Ages. And they would light bonfires and do all these different rituals as a way of warding off the evil spirits. And people went door to door dressed in costumes to give gifts towards the annual Samhain, it was called. It was a Samhain feast. And I guess it was to ward off all the evil spirits. And they didn't do this in the United States because the United States back in revolutionary time was a Protestant country.
Right.
And the Protestants didn't believe in the evil spirits and everything, except when the Irish potato famine happened in the 1840s and they came over to the United States. They brought that tradition with them, and then the name of the holiday was changed from Samhain to Halloween. So it went from Samhain to Halloween, and then it turned more into not so much warding off evil spirits, but just as a fun holiday to get dressed up and have fun and spooky stuff and everything else. But what's interesting is that Halloween is considered an American holiday.
I was just gonna say, it's like it's like so many holidays that come from other immigrant countries that we just commercialize.
Correct, but it's not an American holiday. It's an Irish holiday that they brought over from Ireland in the 1840s. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yes.
And today
But today, I love today.
Today is Dia de los Muertos, which is Day of the
Dia
Dead.
de los Muertos.
Right, and everyone thinks that's Mexican or Halloween, but it's not.
No.
It is not. It is a holiday that gives families time to honor and remember loved ones that are no longer in the land of the living. It originated in Mexico, but is celebrated throughout all of Latin America as well as parts of Asia like the Philippines. And of course, it's also known for dazzling displays of color and decorated skulls. But it goes back, the holiday goes back to the Aztecs in Mexico.
Yeah.
And the Aztecs in Mexico would honor their dead on this day, November 1st.
It's really beautiful, like the different ceremonies. I have some family in Mexico, and like the way they just set up like these beautiful altars, like for people that have passed, and just the symbolism behind Dia de los Muertos is, I think it's
a beautiful
really great.
holiday. And then when the Spanish arrived and conquered the Aztec Empire in the 16th century, they brought Christianity, Catholicism with them, and they infused All Saints' Day with Dia de los Muertos, and it kind of morphed into what it is today.
Yeah.
So, and families, as you were saying, they throw parties. Your family throws parties?
No, we do it on like a smaller scale. It's not that big in the Dominican Republic, but I have I grew up around a very Hispanic dominated community where there were a lot of Mexicans, and they do celebrate it, so I have seen it.
All right, and we got to get to some immigration news as well.
Yes.
In Schmooze. The Biden administration today agreed to accept up to 24,000 Venezuelan migrants on a parole program. And that is in lieu of accepting them from trying to cross the border. So what the Biden administration is trying to do now with the Venezuelans is say, do not come across the border. If you come across the border, you will be automatically returned if you're a Venezuelan. We are not going to allow you to apply for any asylum. We're not going to release you into the United States of America. In return for that, we're going to give you a parole program that will allow 24,000 Venezuelans into the United States, similar to the Ukrainian parole program. So you apply online from Venezuela for a parole, and then you enter the United States with your parole document, and then when you arrive in the United States, apply for a work permit. And they're going to do that for 24,000 people. And the reason why they're able to do that now is that the United States made a deal with Mexico to take back every Venezuelan that comes across the border. They're not going to allow them to make any application for asylum. All of those applications for asylum will be made from Mexico, like the pre-Trump times when everybody was in those tent villages.
Yeah.
So if you're Venezuelan and you try to cross the border, you're going to be returned, and you're going to have to wait in Venezuela for your asylum interview. And in return for that, the United States wants a more orderly entry into the United States by giving 24,000 parole visas, which is a good idea, except there's going to be a lot more than 24,000 people.
I was just
so
going to say.
it's not going to change. It's not going to change the dynamics on the border. You're still going to have
monitor this. That's exactly
the 24,000 people. When you have 2 billion people, crossing the border. I don't know how many actually from Venezuela, but when you have, they said as of August they stopped 25,349 people from Venezuela in the first 8 months of the year.
In Venezuela, there's just so many people fleeing because of the government
of course.
there, and I feel really connected with this just because I have a lot of like Venezuelan friends, and I just hear all these different stories of their family out there, like even the most minimal everyday things, like they do not have access, so they're fleeing. So 24,000, that's a small, it sounds like a big number, but it's a small number compared to how many people will attempt to be a part of this.
Well, you want to, I mean, if you really want to be a historian, I'll give you a little bit of just history of what happened in Asia versus what's happening in South America, and why the United States doesn't do anything with South America like what they did with Asia. There's a theory that says if you want to stop people from protesting in the streets, you want to stop people from migrating to other countries, give them a job. Okay? If people have a job, they're not migrating to other countries, and they don't have time to protest in the streets because they're working. And they're happy, and they're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
And if you go back to Vietnam, if you go back to Vietnam, and we want to make this a happy, but I'll give you a quick analysis quick. If you go back to Vietnam, the United States lost the Vietnam War. And then the theory was that all of Asia was going to turn communism. And everybody was terrified that it was going to be like a domino effect, and that's the reason why the United States went to war in Vietnam, was to, stop the communists. And what they did after, which was very smart, was that they started transferring a lot of the manufacturing to Taiwan, and then eventually South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, and everything was manufactured in the United States up until that point. They started sending all the manufacturing over to those countries. And you know what happened? Everybody got a job. They didn't have to go protest in the streets. I'm not saying there was the greatest job in the world working in a factory. I'm not saying everybody was becoming a millionaire.
But there were opportunities that weren't there before.
Correct. You don't have that. You don't have that situation in a lot of the Central American, South American countries. You have a very small population of very wealthy people and a lot of people without jobs.
Yeah.
That's what you have, and that's what's causing. So you're going to have this influx. So either you're going to be like Donald Trump and say we're going to build a big wall and nobody's going to come.
Right.
Okay. Or you got to figure out a way. Ultimately, the United States has to figure out a way to help these governments give people jobs. I don't have the answer. I'm not an economist.
Right.
But I know they did it in Asia after the Vietnam War, which ultimately, if you read history, says, okay, well, the communists never spread to any other countries because everyone had a job.
Right.
Okay. Now you look today. It even goes to today, because there's two big military areas right now where everyone's concerned we're going to have World War III: Ukraine and China, and with Taiwan, which is the breakaway republic. And the United States says, well, we're not going to put troops in Ukraine. It's not. Why? Because Ukraine is basically not vital interest to the United States of America. They farm, they're big farmers. They give a lot of wheat and food to other countries, but the United States couldn't survive without Ukrainian wheat.
Right.
Our computer chips are made in Taiwan. If China attacks Taiwan, the United States has no computer chips. We have no computer chips for missiles. We have no computer chips for anything.
Yep.
Okay? So when you read in the news and you say, why is Taiwan more vital? The United States is willing to defend Taiwan but not willing to defend Ukraine, is because we don't need Ukrainian wheat, but we need the Taiwanese computer chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was all because they started giving jobs to and sending all the manufacturing out. So that's what's happening there. I went off topic.
Yeah. Hey.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I never mind a little history lesson. I'm sure the squad doesn't either.
So DACA is not looking good.
Oh, man. Yeah, that makes me upset.
Yeah. On Wednesday, October 5th, the Federal Appeals Court ruled that the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program is unlawful. This is Judge Harlan in Texas was the initial trial judge who said DACA's illegal, including the new DACA program that Biden put into effect. Judge Harlan was also the judge in 2013 when President Obama made DACA and also made DAPA, Deferred Action for Parent Arrivals, said the Deferred Action for Parent Arrivals was illegal because it's an unfunded mandate to the Texas government, because they have to process driver's licenses for now people who are legal. So there was a lot of parents of children who ended up never getting into the program because of that. DACA survived, DAPA did it. Now the argument is that President Biden doesn't have, no president has authority to give blanket work permits to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. And it went up to the Court of Appeals, and it looks like the Court of Appeals is going to agree with Judge Harlan.
Wow.
And unfortunately now we have a conservative Supreme Court. So most Supreme Court commentators believe that the Supreme Court of the United States is going to side ultimately with Judge Harlan and say that President Biden, no President, Obama, Trump, Biden, none of them had authority to give hundreds and hundreds of thousands of work permits to DACA recipients. I'll say one other thing. What's very interesting is Biden doesn't have, if that's the case, then he doesn't have authority to give 100,000 work permits to Ukrainians. He doesn't have authority to give 24,000.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go
Right,
next.
but nobody's suing for Ukrainians right now. I don't know what they're going to do with the Venezuelans. That just happened. We talked about it five minutes ago. But then you say, okay, well then he doesn't have authority to do any of that.
But my thing is, but there's action. The Supreme Court still makes decisions for so many other things,
Right.
like abortions and things of that sort, which that's a whole other rabbit hole that we're not getting into.
Right.
But what?
Yeah.
This is so hurtful. Like, as an immigrant, and my immigration story is very different, but I could have very much been someone that was submitting for DACA just to try and get an education.
And these are people who came as children, who are now adults, well into their 30s, perhaps some of them into their 40s at this point, who have lived with these work permits for over a decade, who lived undocumented since a child.
Their adult
spent
life.
20, 30, 40 years, almost 90 to 95% of their life in the United States, and say, sorry, you're illegal.
Right.
Get out.
Right.
Get out. And it's no fault of their own. And you want to know what? The only way ultimately this is ever going to resolve itself is for the Republicans and Democrats to come together and make a bill for dreamers. But we know that's not going to happen. And the reason that's not going to happen is you see it right in the midterm elections right now. Making immigrants a scapegoat for everybody's problems is the best way Republicans have to get people to come out to vote for them. So why in the world would, if you're a Republican and you want to get your people to come out and vote, why would you give away the best thing in the world that you have to yell and scream to get your voters out to vote for you? They yell and scream illegal immigration. Immigrants are taking your jobs. Immigrants are raping our Americans. They're committing crimes. They're killing people. They're robbing you. It's the best scare tactic to get people to come out and vote Republican. So if they make a deal, they've given away their best campaign slogans.
So
why would they do that?
Deal or no deal.
Yeah. And of course, on Thursday, not of course, I'm just learning about this now. I'm saying of course because it's so...
I'm still on DACA. We're moving on to the next story.
No. We're still talking about DACA. I'm just saying this is more about window dressing and hypocrisy than anything else. Microsoft, Apple, Meta, which is Facebook, which is what we're on right now, and dozens of other Fortune 500 companies have launched an advertising campaign to push Congress to pass a new law that would secure the fate of dreamers. That's like putting lipstick on a pig. Okay? They don't need, these companies are trillion-dollar companies. When they put an advertisement out, all they're doing is putting lipstick on a pig. Look, we're trying to be good people.
Right.
We're trying to be good citizens. Look, we want this to happen. Quite frankly, your advertisement's going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Which is why it's putting lipstick on a pig. You are powerful companies worth trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. If you really wanted this to happen, you would hire, instead of buying a billboard, and instead of buying television commercial or a radio commercial, you hire lobbyists. That's how things get done in Washington.
Yeah.
You hire a lobbyist, spend hundreds of millions of dollars on lobbyists to get the DREAM Act passed.
Yep.
So, I find it hypocritical. I find it demeaning. I find it very,
PR.
very,
It's
very, very simplistic to say we're going to run an ad. I think it's just good publicity, but nothing else.
That's what I was going to say. It was just a good PR strategy.
Yeah, but it's not really. They really wanted to help. They know what to do.
Yeah. They know who to talk to.
They know who to talk to, and
because when they need programs or when we need things blocked on all of these different platforms.
When they need tax breaks, when they want to open up a factory, they know exactly who to go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
All
on
right.
that.
They know how to twist arms in Congress if they need to, but it's not important to them.
No.
And then you saw this is not good for immigration either. It's not good for anybody, but Paul Pelosi, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was attacked with a hammer by a crazed man who was actually looking for Nancy Pelosi to ultimately he had like zip ties to tie her up and was his intention was to interrogate her, and if she didn't answer the questions right, break her kneecaps, and that was his plan. But she wasn't home at the time. She was in Washington, D.C. her husband Paul was home, and he got attacked by this man, and he called 911 on his cell phone while the man was attacking him, and the police came and actually saw the man attacking him, arrested him. He broke his skull, and he is having major surgery and several surgeries, and he's going to have a huge recovery. He's 82 years old. He's not a young man.
Yeah, I was going to say he's an elder.
Yeah, he can't. It's not going to be easy for an 82-year-old man to recover from that. And nevertheless, obviously, he's a crazed man, and you hear from the Republican side, well, this is because the Democrats are too easy on crime. You hear from the Democratic side, this is because of Fox News, because you're being so divisive in the United States, and Fox News for year after year after year has been demonizing Nancy Pelosi, and this is what you get when you demonize and do these things. So I mean, you hear from both sides.
Yeah.
And then of course today it came out, which is no good news for immigrants, that the man who attacked Paul Pelosi is in fact an undocumented immigrant from Canada. But so now all the Republicans are going to jump on the fact
here goes another
case of
undocumented immigrants.
Correct. We never hear about all the good things the undocumented immigrants do. We never hear about all the important work that undocumented immigrants are doing.
All the charity, all the ways that they give
back.
No,
we don't hear about that. We just hear about one crazed undocumented immigrant
who attacked a politician.
And by the way, there's about over 100,000 people backlogged for U visas. Those are undocumented immigrants who were the victims of serious crimes perpetrated on them by a U.S. citizen. I don't believe there's 100,000 serious crimes perpetrated by undocumented immigrants on Americans. Yeah. It doesn't go both ways.
Yeah, no.
But we don't publicize the 100,000.
Yeah, those are statistics that we don't ever hear about.
The 100,000 people that are backlogged for U visas. Next, quick. I'm starting to cough.
So I think
I need some tea.
Thing for that
I think I need some tea. The only thing for that is tea. Thank God it's tea time. I mean, it was perfect time. And Jeremy is still here. Jeremy.
I've been brewing this since June of 2020.
Jeremy, I think this is overbrewed tea if you've been brewing it for 6 months.
I feel it's going to bring out the flavors. It really is.
What kind of tea did you give us today, Jeremy?
It's in 6 months.
You don't even know. It's chai.
It's chai. I love
Jeremy.
chai.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
Very well.
I appreciate it. I actually really need it.
No, he literally just needed this.
I want you to know something. It's a cheers, by the way.
Salud.
Yes. Yeah. Tea time's a cute little thing we like to do here on Brad Show Live. But I want you to know something today, Nesquik. I really need it.
No, you really did. And chai is actually my favorite. So since I haven't been wild in a while,
is chai good? Is chai good for like a little bit of a sore throat?
I would say any warm water with a little flavor would be good for a sore throat.
Yes, I think
so.
so.
Ease it up.
I think so.
I just love chai. It just tastes so good.
All right, so we have some tea here.
Yeah, let's lighten this up a little bit.
Yeah,
because we're starting to get a little hot with us.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. What's going on?
Statistics.
Right. By the way, I started the show saying we're gonna have a light show today, and then, but you know what? You get me all.
We're all always looking out for the best interest of immigrants, but certain things like there's so many stories that I attach myself to, but something like DACA is just very and the Dreamers is like very sensitive to me because I am still like a young woman and so many people around me.
Yeah.
On to tea time.
All right. Here's a previously little known fact about Julia Roberts. I thought this was really cool. Martin Luther King Jr., the Martin Luther King Jr. Mm-hmm. Now, you know Julia Roberts, she became famous. I don't know if she became famous from
what's the movie
the movie
she was like a stripper
which she was a prostitute with Richard Gere for the week.
Yeah.
Right. I just forgot the name of it. Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman.
Right.
Like, it's a classic. Why are we
classic. And he walks into the the fancy store in Beverly Hills. He's like, "Do you have anything as beautiful as this woman?" I've used that line. You don't know how many times already. I've used that line too.
It's a good line.
Do you have anything as beautiful as this woman?
Listen, if anyone tried that one with me, I would blush.
That's right. So, any event, Julia Roberts, and she's known for that movie and many others as well. You know, Eat, Pray, Love.
Eat, Love, Pray.
Was it Eat,
Eat, Pray, Love?
Eat, Pray, Love. And many more, obviously. She went to Twitter and she said that Martin Luther King Jr., this guy here, the Martin Luther King Jr., this guy we're looking at right now, the famous Martin Luther King Jr., paid for her birth.
Wow.
Is that wild?
Wow.
If you said to me, you know, true or false, Martin Luther King Jr. paid for Julia Roberts' birth, you'd be like, false. I'm like, what kind of BS is that?
False.
But it's absolutely true.
Wow.
It turns out that Coretta Scott King, who is MLK's wife, was looking for an acting class to bring her children. And back in the day in Atlanta in the 1960s, it was segregated, black children and white children, and she was looking for a mixed race class or any class to bring her children. Julia Roberts' parents ran an acting school, and they graciously accepted Martin Luther King Jr.'s kids into the acting class, and then the parents and Coretta Scott King became very close, good friends. Okay. And ultimately, the acting school closed, and Julia Roberts' parents had some rough time when Julia Roberts was being born, and because they became very good friends, Coretta Scott King and Martin Luther King decided that they would pay the hospital bill for Julia Roberts. And perhaps, you know, things would have turned out differently if Julia Roberts didn't have, you know, good medical care as a result of Martin Luther King Jr.
Wow.
And Coretta Scott King.
That imagine having that as a fun fact. Like,
that is a
share
fun
something
fact
about yourself, Julia.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a great story about me like that.
No.
Do you?
No. No.
So
she was born a day after my birthday, so there's that.
Yeah. So Robert said my parents couldn't pay for the hospital bill. She was born in Smyrna, Georgia, in 1967. And the Kings, Bernice King, a lawyer minister who's the youngest daughter of the late couple, tweeted that she was grateful to Roberts for sharing the story and that so many people were awed by it. She said, "I know the story well." So it was confirmed by Martin Luther King Jr.'s children. But it was moving to me to be reminded of my parents' generosity and influence.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, think about at that time, for a black couple to pay for,
and for it to be that family in particular that was fighting for so many civil rights,
and to know that that person became one of the most famous actresses in the world, ever.
Yeah.
And to never and held that fact in until just this week.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it. I think that's wild.
That is so wild.
I think that is.
That's a great fun fact.
Isn't that a great fun fact?
Yeah, that's an icebreaker for sure.
I mean, but if you bet me 3, I'd be like, BS. That is BS.
Right, like when people say like 3 truths and a lie or something like that. That's the lie.
That's a lie,
that's
right?
A lie.
Exactly.
Like, how'd you even come up with that? Or sometimes with those, it's like when it's so wild like that, it might be true because it's like, how did you even come up with that?
Exactly. And Taylor Swift, she has broken a record that's never been done before. Not everyone loves Taylor Swift. You either love Taylor Swift or you're not a big Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah.
You don't really say like, she's okay. I'm the only one that I've ever met in my entire life who says, yeah, she's okay. I like her. I don't love her, but I don't dislike her.
Yeah.
So like, I'm right there in the middle.
Yeah. I kind of would say that I'm in the middle too.
Yeah,
but her fan club, like those that love her, I was telling Jill this earlier, like her fan, I would love to have fans as loyal as Taylor Swift fans because they go above and beyond. Those that do love her hard.
So she became
this new album.
She became famous with her new album, and her new album just came out, and she's the first artist ever to have all 10 songs, top 10 songs in the Billboard Top 100 be Taylor Swift or from the same artist. And she's the first artist to ever accomplish this feat in Billboard's 64-year history. Songs 1 through 10 are all from Taylor Swift.
Wow.
And she beat Drake. Drake almost did it in September 2021 when he claimed 9 of the top 10 spots for a week.
Missed it by one,
But
Drake.
he missed it by 1. But nobody has ever done 10 of 10.
Wow. Whenever I think of music, history being broken or like things like that, like real things being, I'm like, more than Michael Jackson.
But
Like
this is a
records?
this is a different era, because in the era of Michael Jackson we didn't have downloads. So the record companies would release one song per cycle, and they would allow that song to go up to
Very
number
true.
1, and then when it starts slipping on the charts,
They would release
the
another
next
single.
one. Now Billboard charts are not by record sales that and airtime on the radio, or maybe it's still a little bit airtime on the radio, but it's mostly by downloads.
Yeah.
And
There's quicker access. There's more
Correct.
of it. So these numbers
correct.
are the way that they are these days. That's
so
true.
It's now the Billboard Top 100 is determined by the consumer, not by the record company.
yeah.
Not by the label.
Wow,
So I think
she
that's the
really
difference.
did that.
Probably if Michael Jackson was alive today and released an album, or Whitney Houston
Yep.
released an album,
Yep.
they put 20 songs on it, it would be 1 through 20, you know?
I agree.
Right. So, but that's our schmooze, and we have to get to
Ends our
TikTok
tea
time.
time.
And I answer questions about sponsorship, what happens if your visa is revoked, marriage on a visitor's visa, and if bad credit can affect your citizenship. Let's watch. Loans and debts do not affect the affidavit of support in family-based cases. The only thing that affects you is, does your family member, your spouse, your parent, your child, earn 125% above the poverty level on his or her tax returns to support you and his or her family. If you got your tourist visa revoked, that means the government says you're not admissible to the United States. You did something wrong. You did something wrong to have your visitor's visa taken away. So that's gonna follow you forever. So you're gonna need a waiver if you ever wanna come back. You can come to the United States on a visitor's visa, get married and leave. That's perfectly okay to get married and leave on a visitor's visa. But if you're coming on a visitor's visa and want to stay and get married, then the marriage has to happen more than 90 days after your entry into the United States, and then adjust your status. If it happens before 90 days, there is a possibility or a probability that you could be denied for misrepresentation. Bad credit does not affect your application for U.S. citizenship. Having bad credit does not make you a person of bad moral character. Not filing your tax returns and paying taxes could affect your citizenship, but not bad credit. All right, it's meat and potatoes time. As we like to say at Bradshaw Live, dinner time.
This is what the squad's been waiting for.
Let's do it. You got a question, I got your answer. And getting answers to your immigration questions. Ann from Seattle, you've been waiting an hour. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. What's going on? How can I help you?
Well, I want to say I'm so happy that you're feeling better. I had
Thank
no
you.
idea
Yeah.
that you were suffering. So great.
Oh, thank you.
Great
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
you.
I didn't really publicize it, but I thought I owed it to everybody once I came back to let everyone know what happened.
Well, thank God.
Yeah.
We're so happy for your health.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so my question, I'll just give a little bit of background first before I ask. My husband crossed the border into Arizona in June 2001. He got a temporary resident card through his first U.S. citizen wife.
Okay.
He was eventually denied, though, because he had entered the U.S. without parole. And then a couple of months later, he was actually arrested.
What do you mean he got? You
for
told me he got his.
conviction.
Whoa. You told me he got his conditional green card, but then got denied. Who denied him after he got his green card?
I guess immigration services. He got a letter in the mail saying because you actually entered without parole, you are being denied an adjustment of status.
Okay, so he never got his green card then. That's basically what you. Okay.
Never got a green
Okay,
card.
right. So he
Right.
filed an adjustment, never got a green card. Understood. Continue.
That's
Okay.
correct. And then I think maybe related to that, he was frustrated. He actually got arrested under a conviction of attempted theft. And while the case was ongoing and before he even got sentenced, INS took him into custody and eventually deported him like a couple of months later.
This was in 2001.
So he never got sentenced. And this was actually the conviction when it was in 2003. And after a couple of months of being in INS jail, he was deported in February 2004.
To what country?
Okay.
What country?
To Morocco.
Morocco. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how did you meet him?
Recently,
From Seattle, Washington.
I actually knew him while all of this was going on.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So we were together after he actually didn't work out with his first wife. So we were in the process of, getting married eventually, and we hadn't married officially in the law because he had filed for divorce, and that came through in March 2004. So then we married immediately after that in March 2004. So I followed him to Morocco. We've been out of the country since then.
Okay.
Like 19 years now.
Wow.
So in 2022, he was able to get his case presented in front of an attorney via Zoom because of the pandemic, and eventually it got vacated and completely dismissed and expunged.
Great.
So then right after that, we filed the I-301. I-130. And that's going to take over a year, I guess, because it's in Vermont.
Correct.
But will he need an I-212 waiver?
Yes, he will.
Even though he's been out of the country 19 years.
Yes,
he will.
Yes, he got ordered deported.
Even with a vacated case?
Even with a vacated case. If the case wasn't vacated, he would have needed two waivers, an I-212 for the order of deportation and an I-601 for the underlying criminal case. But if you're telling me the case is vacated, that means he has no criminal record in the United States. All that happened was he lived illegally in America for several years and got deported. Well, you also need a waiver if you lived illegally in America and try to come back within 10 years of the deportation, but we're past that 10-year point. You would need a waiver if you had an underlying criminal record, but it's been vacated. You also need a waiver for the actual deportation. That would be the 212 waiver. Though of the three waivers that I just talked about, the 10-year bar waiver, the deportation waiver, and the waiver for a criminal conviction, the easiest of the three is the 212. You should be happy. Of any of the three, that's the one you need.
Okay, would he be eligible for a U.S. citizenship eventually if he was able to re-enter the country?
If he re-enters the United States, what a waiver means for in all intents and purposes, a waiver means we forgive you. So when you apply for a waiver, you're saying, I'm applying for forgiveness. Please forgive me and allow me to come into the United States despite the prior deportation. So if you get a waiver, you're forgiven for life. So once he enters the United States, he has a green card, and assuming he has 5 years good moral character, he would become a citizen. 3 years good moral character, residing with a U.S. citizen spouse, he would be able to file for citizenship 3 years later.
All right. And what about, and just one last thing, what about the hardship to the U.S. citizen spouse if I've been living abroad all of these years?
Well,
that I need to go back there to show that I have
you would have. I don't know the underlying facts of everything that's going on in your life. We would have to interview you and figure this out.
Right.
But yes, you have to show hardship to a spouse if they were not able to join you in the United States. And you have to say, okay, well, what would be the hardship if we're separated and spouse is in the United States and one spouse is in Morocco? And what would be the hardship if you continued to live in Morocco? I don't know what that hardship is off the top of my head of you continuing to live in Morocco. You've been able to do so to the present, but maybe in the future something's changed that you're no longer able to live there, whether it's comfortably or you're unable to live there at all for XYZ reasons, which we would have to document, but that we would have to figure off the air.
Okay. And would an I-130 be approved, knowing that I've been with him for so long? And
absolutely.
We have 4 children and all of that
well,
stuff?
Yeah. An I-130 approval is just, are you in a valid marriage? You're in a valid marriage, a legal marriage. The bona fides, determining whether or not your marriage is bona fide, happens at the interview in Morocco. And you have 4 children, so obviously it's a bona fide marriage. Nobody has 4 children.
Right.
Nobody has 4 children with a spouse in a business marriage. So obviously it's a real marriage. Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you so
You're
much
very
for
welcome.
your time.
Okay. Let's go to Mo in Salt Lake, Utah.
Hello, Brett. How are you?
How are you, Mo?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I have a question about immigrant visa. My wife had immigrant visa interview in East Africa, but she has been waiting after the interview up to now. It's 8 months.
Where is this?
In Kenya.
In Kenya. And
Yeah.
what happened at the interview?
Yeah, they say administrative process.
Administrative processing for 8 months? Did she?
No,
Did she?
8 months.
Okay. Did she have to fill out extra forms for background
Yeah,
checks?
They send us some supplemental question.
Okay. So they gave her this extra form for background checks, and now she's in administrative processing. Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Yeah. If you get that extra form for extra background checks, those background checks are taking over a year, unfortunately. All you can do is harass the hell out of the embassy or hire someone like a lawyer like myself to harass them, to get them to move it along. But those additional background checks are taking time. It's not your fault. And you can't, all you can do is put oil on what's called a squeaky wheel. So, the squeaky wheel gets oil. So if you harass them enough and you make enough noise, hopefully they push it along.
Okay, what should we do? Can we file a mandamus?
You can't file a mandamus against the consulate because they're outside of the United States of America. They're outside of jurisdiction of a federal court. So you just got to get on the phone and harass them, actually.
Okay. I have another question about MVC. MVC, they sent my children case number and invoice number, but they attached another email that I didn't know. Can we request them to replace the case number?
I don't understand. I don't understand your question. What? Tell me again.
Yeah, the embassy sent us my children case number and invoice number.
Okay.
But they attached another email person that I didn't know.
They sent it to an email of a person you don't know who that is?
Yes.
All right. So then you need to contact either the U.S. Embassy, the National Visa Center, and say you're not sending it to the right person. You're making an error.
Yes, but can we request them to replace the case number and invoice number?
No, you get the same invoice number and case number, but it should all be sent to you, not to someone else. I think you're going to need a little help for two reasons. One, it seems like wires are getting crossed on your children, and your wife is in a black hole, so to speak, where we don't know when she's going to get out of this black hole to get her green card. That perhaps you would want a lawyer to contact, at a minimum, the embassy to see what's going on with your wife and get your kids organized over there. So hold on one second, okay? Let's go to Vanessa in Irvington, New Jersey. Vanessa.
Hey, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
First off, I must say I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, everything's well, thank you.
Good. So I have a question. So I started my VAWA application back in 2018, and it was approved and everything. However, my 360 was approved back in 2019, and I remarried February of this year, but I got my green card last month, in September.
You can remarry as long as the I-360 was already approved.
So my question is, am I still, so I would like to petition for my now spouse. Can I move forward with the petition, or do I have to wait until I become a U.S. citizen?
I'd wait until you become a citizen. Where is he?
He's here. He's
here.
In the United States.
Okay. Yeah, wait until you become a citizen. He's overstayed his time?
No, he hasn't.
Oh, okay. Then you can file an adjustment if he's in legal status.
So before his time is up, I can go ahead.
Correct.
I don't have to wait until I'm a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Let's go to Sherrington in Claremelle City, Florida.
Hi, Brad.
How are you?
Good. I'm fine. Good to see you back.
Good to see you.
Good to see. Yeah, I have a question. Is it mandated that you need the vaccine, COVID vaccine, to become a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, to become a U.S. citizen, no. To get your green card, yes.
Or to get the green card, yes, but not to become a citizen?
Correct. If you already had the green card and then COVID vaccine came out after you got your green card and you don't choose to take it, that's your choice.
Okay, good. Second question. I used to be married. That's how I got my green card. And I got divorced. And my wife, my ex-wife, I should say, she got remarried. So she got remarried to an immigrant also. And I think she maybe going to be doing some filing for that guy or whatever. I don't know. But should I apply for my citizenship? Would it affect me going forward?
You got your green card through a U.S. citizen who you're now divorced. You have a green card for 5 years?
Yes, it's going to be 5 years.
Okay. As long as you have evidence that it was a bona fide marriage, it should be no problem and file your citizenship.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Good luck. Let's go to Bandin in Bangalore, India.
Hello, Brett. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question. My VAWA was approved in June 2022.
Great. Congratulations.
And I got an email from the NBC that I have to file documents and visa fees. I did it. But unfortunately, I got to know that my petition has been sent back to the USCIS. So I contacted Congressman.
Why was it sent back to USCIS?
Which is I don't know yet. I contacted the Congressman. She said that my file has been transferred to my local office, Minneapolis.
I don't know why that. I don't know why that either. Did you hear why? What was the reason?
I did not know yet. I did not get a reply from the Congressman.
All right. This is what I would suggest we do. Because you would need to do what's called the Freedom of Information Act request. That's the answer. Request a copy of your immigration records so a professional can review it. I can do that for you, or any lawyer can do that for you. Review the entire record and see what happened, where the problem is, and then fix it. Until then, your congressman is going to go back and forth a million times. You're not going to know what to do.
Okay.
All right. So what you need is a Freedom of Information Act request, and the immigration sends a CD with every piece of paper in the file about everything they did on the case. And then a professional reviews it and says, oh, now I see where the problem is, and it gets fixed. All right. But going through your congressman is just shuffling papers back and forth. All right. Hold on one second.
Oh.
Let's go to Jackson in Jacksonville, Florida. Jackson in Jacksonville, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. What's going on?
I'm calling for a criminal case because I'm trying to apply for citizenship.
Wait. I think you're either in a submarine or you're on a Bluetooth. Because I don't hear you coming in.
What was that?
You're either in a submarine or on a Bluetooth. I hear you better now. Yes, thank you. What is your question?
All right. I was trying to apply for citizenship, but I have like a criminal case.
You're trying to process your citizenship and you have a criminal case.
Yeah, I have one like from the past.
What was the criminal case for?
Like, I was with people in the car, and like the cop searched my car, and he found like a bung, and he said he charged me with a Class C.
What happened? Did you plead guilty to something? Were you found guilty of something?
And I didn't go to court. I got a lawyer, and I didn't plead nothing, but he just told me he's gonna get the case dismissed for me.
And was the case dismissed?
Yes.
You for sure it was dismissed?
Yes, it was closed. It says closed, dismissed.
Okay, good. And when did this happen?
This was in 2018.
Okay. And when did you get your green card?
2018.
Just at the same time? It was through marriage to a U.S. citizen?
No, to be honest, I was adopted. This happened when I was a kid. It was surgery.
You were adopted by U.S. citizens?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I do. Were you adopted by U.S. citizens?
Yes.
Okay. And your adoption, you got your green card before you were 18 years old?
17.
Okay. And your adopted parents are U.S. citizens, correct?
Yes.
Then you're an automatic citizen. So you could have been charged with murder. You're still a U.S. citizen.
But he's not my real parent.
It doesn't matter. If you got adopted by U.S. citizen parents, and those U.S. citizen parents filed for your green card, and you were living in their legal and physical custody, and this all happened before your 18th birthday, need that tea again, you're a U.S. citizen.
Wow. So, yes, so before.
So you don't forget about the case. It's meaningless. You're not going to file for naturalization. You can't naturalize to a citizen if you're already a citizen. So you're going to file an N-600 certificate of citizenship. So congratulations to you. You're a United States citizen.
Okay. Thank you, Brad.
All right. Hold on if you need more help. But you're a U.S. citizen. Hold on. All right. Man's happy man. Well, and he hung up. He's so happy.
Right.
So happy.
That was his icebreaker.
He's so happy. He threw his phone up in the air, went into the lake. He goes,
I make this call anyway. I should be outside.
And then it's in the lake, and he's off the air. I don't know why I think he's near a lake.
Jacksonville just gives you
that gives you that water feeling,
yeah.
right? All right, David in Mobile, Alabama.
Yes, Brad. Good night, Brad.
Good night. How are you?
I'm doing great.
What's going on?
Yes. The thing. Let me backtrack. Back in 2018, I had an A and B, and I went back to Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica.
What do you mean? What's an A and B?
Assault and battery case.
A what?
Assault and battery
Oh,
case.
assault and battery case. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Sir.
You have a green. You have a green card?
No, I don't have a green card. I just have a work permit.
Just a work permit. Okay. What happened with the A and B? I gotta know all the lingo here. What happened with the A and B?
It got dismissed.
Great. Okay.
Yes, but the thing, I filed my I-130 back in 2021.
Right.
Yeah, and it was approved January of 2022.
Great.
And I also got my I-765 approved.
Great.
And I'm currently, the I-485 is pending, but I got annoyed.
What was annoyed
when
for?
I called the USCIS agent, they said that the interview has been waived.
Great.
But I got annoyed.
What's annoyed? What is it asking for?
They said in the annoyed they need the I-693, they need the medical.
Okay.
The medical, the disposition for the case.
Right.
And evidence of a bona fide marriage from when we got married back in 2020 up until now.
Great. So it all sounds good. It's easy to go take your medical. Good. Yeah, it's easy to take your medical. Your case was dismissed. Prove you live with your wife and you have a financial relationship, and voila, you get a green card.
Oh, okay, that sounds good.
All right, yeah, it sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right. Good luck. If you need help, hold on. Let's go, and you're welcome. Mike in Orlando.
Hi, Brad.
How are you?
Good. Doing well. Squad up.
How are you? Squad up.
I'm great. My question is simple. I'm in the U.S. on an L-1B. It's renewed after the first 3 years, so I have 2 years left.
Right.
My company then started this EB2, like a work permit, to convert me
the perm application for a green card.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. So eventually they're going to file an I-485.
Right.
But my wife also filed an I-130, and she's a green card holder. Mm-hmm. That was filed in September, October, and it's just still pending. Question is, can I file the I-485 now while the priority date is current?
If your priority date is current, file the adjustment right now through your wife. You don't need to wait for your employer. You submit a receipt for the I-130 and proof that you're in legal status, and file your adjustment.
Okay. What about if my employer then gets to the stage where they want to file an I-485?
Well, you're not going to file an adjustment on two different applications. So you're going to file on your wife. You're going to presume it's going to get approved. But God forbid, you and your wife get into a massive argument tomorrow and the marriage breaks up. You could always fall back on your employer.
Okay, great. And
right.
For the I-485 that I'm going to file, I obviously need things like affidavit of support and all that.
Correct.
Medical. I'm not prepared to take like a flu vaccine and all that I have the COVID vaccine, but I don't know what the status is on getting all those additional.
I don't think you need a flu vaccine, but there are certain vaccines that you do need to take, and it depends on if you've taken them in the past or not. When you go to a medical doctor, they'll tell you what you need, and then you'll make decisions on whether you're going to request a waiver. You can request a waiver of taking a vaccine only if for severe medical reasons, meaning that you're going to have an adverse reaction to it, or for religious purposes. But you can't, it's either, you take this vaccine, you risk dying, or my religion forbids me from doing it. And you got to prove you're a part of that religion, and you got to prove that your religion does forbid you from doing that. Those are the only two ways to get the waiver for vaccines. Other than that, you're going to decide whether you're either going to take the vaccine or not get a green card. That's basically what it comes down to.
But just to confirm, I can file the I-45, the combo card, and all that without my I-130 being approved.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Omar in Dallas.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Brad, how you doing, man?
Good.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you very much. What's going on?
All right. I got a U visa question for you. It's about my sister.
Okay.
And the thing of it is, I don't remember all the details, but I'm just going to go through it really quick.
Sure.
All right. So, I guess in the past, maybe to say about 7, 8 years or so ago, right? There was a drug charge, wrong place at the wrong time situation. Prior to that, she used to come here to America as a child, and legal status and stuff, right?
Right.
And then somewhere along the line, she ended up all out of status. All right. That case, the drug charge case was, I guess.
What does the drug case have to do with her U visa?
I'm just fast forwarding to the certification that her attorney needed to get. So
was she a victim in this drug case, or was she accused of something with drugs?
She was married. And this is where the abuse came from. But I'm just giving you the drug case.
What was she a victim of? What was her victim? What was she a victim of? What crime?
Her ex-husband. It was
domestic violence.
Domestic violence.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what does the drug case have to do with it?
Because she needed to get a certification, I believe.
Certification that she cooperated in the domestic violence case, or certification that she was charged with a drug offense and the case was dismissed against her? Because those are two separate things. What are we talking about?
Both.
Okay. So she was charged with a drug offense and it was dismissed, and she was the victim of domestic violence, and you have to show she cooperated with the authorities in the prosecution of her husband or whoever was assaulting her.
Correct.
Okay. So what is your question?
All right. So where we are now, the attorney submitted the U visa packet. There was a situation where she and her husband was driving. They were stopped by the cop. And
this was after the U visa application was filed?
No, before.
Okay. Tell me what's the question. Don't give me all the facts. Just ask the question, and then I'll say. Okay. Then I'll tell you if I need to know anything more.
Okay. So the U visa packet was submitted, and because it's taking so long, the question is there a possible chance that her husband could put in a I-130 packet so she could?
She's back with her husband?
No. This is a new husband. Husband.
A new husband.
Yes.
Okay, I understand now. And how did she come to the United States?
Well, illegal entry. This is where the U visa came in.
Okay. So she's not going to be eligible to adjust her status unless she's 245I, which means she had an approved case filed before April 30th, 2001, or her husband was in the military or former military that we can get parole in place for her. Other than that, we got to wait on the U visa. Now, she should be able to get a work permit on the U visa now because they are giving those out. But if you entered without inspection, the husband will not be able to file an adjustment for her work permit because she doesn't have a legal entry.
Oh, so even though because the assumption was that the 485 would be denied, however, while it's processing, she might have gotten the work permit.
Well, you can try to sneak that in there like that, but that's, if If you do it by mistake, I guess sometimes it happens. If you do it on purpose, that's fraud.
I understand. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Let's go to, excuse me, Sean in Brooklyn.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy you're better.
Thank you very much.
I have a little, it's not a situation.
Sure.
So I filed a VAWA case in 2018.
Right.
My I-360 get approved last year. And recently, the USCIS asked me for blood work. And so I was arrested a couple months ago. And,
wait. Blood work? What do you mean blood work?
The medical.
Okay, so you got a medical and then you got arrested.
Yeah, I got arrested before they asked me for that. So they didn't ask me for the dismissal or anything. I sent it in, the dismissal along with the medical last week, Monday. I sent it in Monday. And when on Thursday, I got an electronic update stating that we order a new card has been produced for you.
Great.
And on Friday, they send me a next update saying that your I-485 was approved. So I don't know how they approved it before they order the card, or how is that?
It means that they approved your adjustment and your card is being processed and your adjustment was approved some days ago and they got around several days after they approved your adjustment to notifying you. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. And also, how long are we getting the card since it's been approved last week?
It could be anywhere from 10 days to 8 weeks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Congratulations. Okay.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's go to Roxanne in Leesburg, Florida.
Roxanne.
How are you, Roxanne?
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Good. How are you?
So I have I'm sponsoring my husband, and I have all my forms.
Great.
What forms do I need to send in now?
You just told me you had all your forms.
So should I send everything in? I mean, all of it.
Where's your husband?
He's here.
Okay. You're a citizen.
Yes.
And he came on a visa.
Yes.
How long ago?
2019.
Great. So you're going to file an I-485.
Right.
An I-130.
Right.
An I-130A.
Yeah.
An I-864, affidavit of support. An I-765 for the work permit. An I-131 for the travel document. And you're going to submit it all together one time with a filing fee of $1,760.
All right, $760.
Right.
All right.
Good luck.
Second question.
Oh.
Back in August, we filed the I-10, and we have not got a response as yet.
Okay. That's a statement.
I don't know if it takes that long to get back the I-10 number.
You can apply for an I-10 number independent of filing a tax return. So when you file a tax return in February or March or April of next year, if your husband does not yet have his work permit and social, which he probably won't get till June, you file the W-7 with the 1040 return. Then he'll get it.
I did submit it all then.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know what you did. You got to speak to your tax preparer.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have an answer why you don't have it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Let's go to John in Denver, Colorado. John.
Yes, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm doing great. Thanks for bringing the show back, though.
My pleasure. What can I do to help you?
Hey, Brad, I have some questions, and maybe probably I would need your services.
Sure.
Now, I think I called you a few months ago. I had my green card 2 years in 2011, and when I was removing the condition, it was denied, and I went to removal, whatever.
Right.
January of this year, it was approved.
Oh.
I went to court.
Years later? Wow, 7 years later. I thought you were going to tell me you got ordered deported. Good for you.
No.
All right.
It was more than 7 years, I think. So,
wow. Okay.
The judge approved it, so I took the documentation and everything to the court, and they stamped my passport. But I called to find out if I will receive a green card or something, and they told me it is taking about another 3 years for me, almost 3 years.
File your citizenship.
For me to be a citizen.
No,
the lady said I can't be.
You file your citizenship today. You've been a resident since 2011.
These people are confusing us anyway.
So it's because when you call immigration, you're speaking to an outside contractor that has very little training.
So the next question will be: I moved from New York to Colorado, but I've been in and out. I filed taxes in Colorado and all that.
You file your citizenship in the state where you're living.
Where I'm living. Okay.
Put in your citizenship tonight.
I can do that, right?
Tonight you can.
Oh, thank you, Brad.
All right.
I think I'll call the number.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
Let's go to Beverly in the Bronx.
Hey, Brad. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I asked you a question.
Sure.
Filed for my sister filed for. You did an application that she was married.
Wait. You broke up a little bit, so I didn't hear what you said.
So my friend filed for. The filing came through and everything. When she went to the embassy, she did a told she was married, and it was not an application.
You're still breaking up. Can you take a step to the left or something?
You hearing me now?
Okay. Yes. All I heard was your friend, and he went to the embassy, but I didn't hear anything else.
My friend's sister filed for her.
Okay.
The embassy.
You're breaking up again. I know you waited a long time. We're going to put you on hold. We're going to get it sorted out. I'm going to come back to you. Hold on a second. Let's go to Sam in Sacramento.
Hi.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Uncle Brad.
How are you?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're really happy to see you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, Uncle Brad,
Yes.
real quick, I just want to backpedal a little bit. I came into the United States with a conditional green card in 2018 September.
Right.
And 2019, we got divorced, but we have a 3-year-old kid, baby girl.
Okay, great.
System. So I filed 2019, 2020,
You filed
I think
to
so.
remove the
I
conditions.
filed for of condition.
Right.
And before then, I was given an extension for,
Right.
is it 8 months or 12 months, I guess? I'm not really sure, which lapsed. And last year, they sent me another 12 month or 18 month extension.
Great.
And the last response I got from USCIS is as of August 30, 2021, that they've scheduled me for an interview, and I've not heard anything from them since now, up to now.
All right. So, and you're sure they didn't schedule it yet?
Oh no, I always check it.
Okay.
I always check.
When did you get your conditional green card? When did you enter the United States?
2018, September 2018.
Okay, so 90 days before September 2018 would be June to July, July to August. Sometime in June of 2023, if you don't get scheduled for an interview, you will have been a permanent resident for 4 years, 9 months, and 3 days. And if you haven't heard anything between now and June, you'll file your citizenship. But you're still
the citizen
in June, 90 days before your 5-year anniversary. So, I am sure that they will schedule you between now and June. You're a permanent resident. You can keep renewing your green card. I'm confident you will win your case because you have a child with this, with your ex-wife. So I'm not worried that you're not going to win your case. So I would just wait it out. And if you don't hear anything by June, just do your citizenship because you'll be eligible to do it.
All right, great.
All right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, good luck. And I guess Beverly didn't call us back. I don't know what happened to Beverly. I told her to hold on. We're going to figure it out.
Yeah, she was breaking up on the important part.
Yeah, so all I heard was friend and
when she started asking her question.
Yeah.
I heard it too.
All right, well, Nesquik, that was the meat and potatoes.
That was a good
Are you full?
Yeah, I know I am. Is the
You
squad
are?
full?
You are? You're full?
Yeah.
All right. By the way, if you didn't get your immigration questions asked and answered, you can follow me on Instagram at RealBradBernstein. Drop me a text message, and I'll try to answer your question as best as I can. You can also follow us on at Brad Show Live. for the best 30 seconds of 45 seconds of our show. If you can't handle 2 hours of this, but can handle 45 seconds, and also want to know when we're going to be on next, follow us at Bradshaw Live on Instagram, and of course our fastest growing social media platform, TikTok. You can drop your questions in the comments or the questions and answers. There's so many. There's like 10,000 questions I haven't answered yet, Vanessa. But if you're lucky enough to get your immigration question read by me, I can't read them all, but if you're lucky enough to get it read by me, I just, honestly...
You get through a lot of them, though.
I
so
know,
the squad should ask.
I know. I sometimes do 10, 12 at a time, 15 at a time. And honestly, people always ask me all the time, how do you choose? Just whatever I see first, because I don't have time to scroll through it all. But if you're lucky enough for me to see your question, you'll get a personalized video answered by me to you for, at this point, millions of people to watch, because millions of people are watching it.
Yeah.
And Vanessa, where can they find you?
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV. And
Later in the show, we're going to be celebrating with Vanessa at New York City's very first Japan Day parade. Even the activist and legendary Star Trek actor, George Takei.
Yeah, George Takei was
He hates William Shatner. Did you know that?
No, I
They
didn't.
have a feud, this guy and William Shatner. I've seen a whole bunch of interviews with him, and he's always ripping Captain Kirk. You know,
He's coming for him?
Yeah.
It wasn't enough in space. They didn't handle it in space.
Yeah, they didn't handle their feud lasted for like 30, 40 years. I mean, they've been off the show for 30, 40 years already. I think it's time for them to say the statute of limitations is up. Right? But they have a feud for like 30, 40 years. I don't know. What was his role in Star Trek? That was before my time.
I thought you were going to tell me. What do you mean before your time? You just said they weren't around 30. The show hasn't been around for 30 years, Brad.
The show hasn't been around. All right, let me rephrase that. The show has not been around for 50 years, probably.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, because that show was over like before I was born, or
someone in the squad definitely knows what character he played.
maybe
Please put it in the comments.
By the way, Jill is younger than me, but she's a show aficionado. Maybe she knows. What was George Takei's role in Star Trek, Jill? Do you know?
Wasn't he just one of the pilots?
Jill is dumbfounded.
On the ship.
Okay, he was on the Enterprise. That's all we know. Right. And we'll talk to him later. And what else do you have to say, Vanessa?
So, in honor of Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, we spoke to artists.
Oh, excuse me. Public service announcement.
Okay.
Jay Rhymes, otherwise known as Jeremy Goldberg, says he was Sulu. But what was his role? Did he run the ship? Was he the doctor? Was he the chef on the...
Why was there so much beef on the ship?
Right, I don't know. Was he the guy who beamed Scotty up? He wasn't Scotty.
I'm going to need someone in the squad to let us know.
Yeah, all right, anyway.
Anyways, in honor of Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, we spoke to artist Shazad Garcia, who was commissioned by the Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn to build a large-scale community altar in Greenwood's historic chapel for the holiday. Let's check it out.
My name is Sherazad Garcia, and I am a visual artist and a professor. My work, in general, is embedded in history and what I call the politics of inclusion. So, because that interest of mine, that has allowed me to tackle topics like race, migration, and so on. To convey these ideas, I go from drawing, painting, installation, animation, and everything. So I am definitely very much about everything, but the concept is for me the most important thing. So right now we are at the Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn. It's a wonderful place. This week we are celebrating the Day of the Dead, which is a tradition that is basically from Mexico. But like anything that is a New Yorker or from America, it is a tradition that now belongs to all of us. Why is that? Because in cities like this, we live along so many different communities. So many of those communities, you become part of those traditions as well. So the traditions get transformed and enriched by the fact that you don't have to be Mexican, you don't have to be Latin American to be part of this. So what do we celebrate with the Day of the Dead? Well, we celebrate the life of those dear ones that pass away. In this case, right now, we are dedicating, well, I am dedicating the altar to the coronavirus victims of New York. So if you have a chance, come visit and then light a candle for anybody that you knew, any dear one that passed away victim to the pandemic. I was fortunate enough to be commissioned by Greenwood to create this altar for the Day of the Dead at this very, important moment. And what I did was to once again be inspired by the idea of transforming tradition. And I wanted to celebrate that papel picado, which is such a iconic Mexican way of doing paper. So what I did was to make the entire altar created by paper, by laying paper in different ways with different colors. So completely inspired by the tradition of all this very colorful and very cheerful, almost, way to celebrate the dead. And also, the centerpiece of the altar, when you go and visit, you're going to see that it's the Statue of Liberty, which is such an iconic symbol of our New York. And why is the Statue of Liberty cinnamon color? I am very much about inclusion. And when I am confronting a painting and I am in front of a palette, when I mix all the colors of the palette, that right there is the action of inclusion. And the outcome of that mixing is cinnamon color. So I want to make sure I tell the stories of everyone without excluding anybody. So that's why our Statue of Liberty is cinnamon, because she's actually embracing everybody. And she's also weeping, because we are in a moment of a very difficult moment for our communities. But that doesn't mean that it's not a moment of hope, because the moment you are celebrating the people that pass away, and the moment you see beauty, there is hope. I am originally from the Dominican Republic, from Santo Domingo, the capital of Dominican Republic. As a young girl, I was involved in the arts all my life. And I also had the opportunity of traveling around. But life is so interesting, isn't it? You cannot write it. And this is one thing that I felt like, well, you have to be always open. And then when I went to study art professionally, I had the opportunity of going to a school that is part of Parsons in my country, Dominican Republic. It's a sister school, and the name of the school is Artos de Chabón, and it's part of Parsons School of Design. So then, after 2 years there, I was very excited when I was awarded my scholarship, but I never thought, that I was going to love New York. And the moment I came to this city, I fell in love. So here I am. I stay after. I live basically between Dominican Republic, New York. I am based in New York. So my American experience is definitely a cheerful one. The Day of the Dead is celebration of the life of people that pass away, your dear ones that pass away. So it's supposed to be something full of joy, because it's a celebration. That's why you can see that there are flowers, there are candles to inspire the spirits, and there are toys, there are offerings. So, and there is usually lots of family visiting, and they basically celebrating. I am from the Caribbean, so the tradition of celebration of the Day of the Dead is not something that is Caribbean. Yet, my experience from New York and my experience of just loving traditions of different communities has really taught me, how beautiful it is to kind of not appropriate, but more likely to be part of many communities by celebrating their traditions, by sharing, by merging. And then that is becoming mine as well.
Okay. All right. We're back.
We are back.
You ready to do social media check-in?
Yep.
Let's see what's going on.
Okay, so you guys already know, and if you don't, since we've been gone for a while, we have our Brad Squad VIP questions, which are the first 5 questions that come up on our social media check-in, but you need to ask us on our Facebook page, on our Brad Squad Facebook page. So look that up. So our first one comes from Zalani Fisher.
Oh, wait a second. I have a public service announcement.
Okay.
Jilly Bean, our executive producer, says Sulu served under Captain Kirk.
Okay, that's why he was mad.
He was, yeah, because he didn't have a real position on the ship. It's not like he even had. It's not like he was like a corporal. He was nothing.
Or like some sort of co-pilot.
Yeah, he wasn't co-pilot. He, nothing. No wonder he's angry at Captain Kirk. Okay, now I understand. Okay, he had no position. He was just flying on the ship with no position. All right, continue.
Anyways, Zalani Fisher, a Brad Squad VIP member, says, my daughter is now 18 years of age. Her dad filed for her when she was 13 years old, and she received her green card. Rest assured, her dad lives in Boston, and he is a U.S. citizen. I live in New York, and the child lives with me now. So my question is, what does my daughter or her dad have to do for her to get her citizenship?
Well, either you have evidence that she was living with the biological father for some period of time in his legal and physical custody, or if she and then she's an automatic citizen from that period of time, even if she then ultimately switched to live with you. But if she always lived in your legal and physical custody and never lived in the legal and physical custody of the father, well, then you got to move her to Boston to live in the legal and physical custody of the father, and then she would become an automatic citizen and get her certificate of citizenship. But the U.S. Immigration Service is going to ask for proof that she lived in legal and physical custody with the biological parent.
Mark Richardson, another Brad Squad VIP member, what would be the best process for my Filipina fiance to move here and us get married?
File a fiance petition. It's actually faster than you going to the Philippines to get married. It's an I-129K. F. K is the K visa. It's an I-129F petition, excuse me.
Okay, Lawrence Neribe on part of our Brad Squad VIP. I am a 2-year green card holder. I was assaulted by my wife, and I'm filing for divorce. Is it correct that I can file for citizenship within 3 years of having my green card after removing the conditions on my green card based on a domestic violence assault?
No, it's not. You could only apply for citizenship based on a VAWA approval. You're not getting your 10-year green card on a VAWA approval. You're going to get your 10-year green card either because you were the victim of abuse or based on a bona fide marriage that ended in divorce. But neither of those applications are VAWA applications. So because you're not in a bona fide marriage with your wife anymore, despite the domestic abuse, unfortunately, you would have to wait 5 years from the time you got your conditional green card.
Lee E on YouTube. What can I do to speed up the process for my mom's I-130 application? She is in Jamaica, filed February of 2022, and still no word besides the receipt notice. Can a lawyer make it go faster? I am a citizen.
Perhaps in the future, if it's pending for 2 years, you can file a mandamus. Until then, you can request an expedite based on humanitarian reasons, come up with the saddest, most emotional hardships you can come up with, why your mother needs to be here in the U.S. Ultimately, they're only going to approve expedites based because your mother's literally out on the street somewhere and has no roof over her head, or extreme medical condition, extreme living conditions. Other than that, they're not going to expedite it, but you can always try.
Anu Chandra on YouTube. My VAWA is filed and I want to live in India. I am hoping I do not need to file any I-360 amendment or I-360 consular. Can I only withdraw my old I-485 after getting settled in India?
So what does she want to do? She has a pending adjustment application, and she wants to give it
she
up.
Filed VAWA.
Right, she wants to give it up, move to India, and then wait on her green card in India. You can do that. That's not a problem, except if you were undocumented in the United States for more than 1 year and you leave to go back to India, you have a 10-year bar, even as a VAWA application. So now you can't go to the embassy for 10 years. I mean, you can, but you would need to file a waiver based on hardship to yourself, which is difficult to show because you already moved yourself back to India. So my advice would be get advance parole travel to India but don't live there.
Mario Mendoza on YouTube. My I-360 was approved in July. When will I have my interview for the green card? I was married to a citizen. I have my C-31 approved on July 29th of 2022.
I don't know when you're going to get your green card, but if you got your approved in, when did he get this C-31?
C-31 this past July 29th, 2022.
I had to take a guess, July 2023.
Okay, the next one's a bit lengthy, but Jabkel Sumo on Facebook. I called on your show back in January of 2022 when my 10-year green card was pending. You told me to go ahead and file my citizenship because I have held my 2-year green card for 5 years. I was confused at that point, but went ahead and filed my citizenship in February. Long story short, I was able to get my citizenship on September 29th, 2022. I would have still been waiting for the green card if I didn't make that call. I have a fiance in the UK whom I met in December of 2021, and she got pregnant and gave birth in September of 2022. I have 2 options right now, either to file for her and the baby, or I wait till she files her citizenship this month in the UK, which will take up to 6 months to get. And will she be able to come here without a visa as a UK citizen? My question is, which process will be faster to get her here?
If she's going to become a citizen in 6 months in the UK, then she can get an ESTA and come to the United States to visit. And then if she stays so she would be here in 6 months, presuming, if that's correct. And then she can come visit her husband or her fiance. And if she waits 90 days and then subsequently marries you, you can file an adjustment for her. Sounds like a faster way. By the way, your child's a U.S. citizen. You don't have to file separately for your child because the child was born presumably when you were a U.S. citizen and you were living in the United States in lawful status, either as a resident or as a citizen, at least 5 years prior to the child's birth.
Yeah. So he got his citizenship the day the baby was born.
Really?
Yeah, so here it says, I get my citizenship on 9/29/22, and she gave birth on 9/29/22.
So now, the question becomes, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Right? It's true.
It is true.
What was the chicken or the egg? The egg hatched? Did the child born first? Or did you swear in first? So you have to now get the medical records for when the child was born.
Wow.
And hopefully there's a record of when you got sworn in.
Wow.
It's a close call, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, that's why I had to make sure. I didn't read dates just to keep it, but then I see why he included those exact dates.
Yes.
Okay, next question.
And by the way, if they say no, you're a U.S. citizen, you can file an I-130 petition for the child now, and as soon as the child comes, lives with you with the green card, would also automatically become a citizen. But I wonder if the child was born late at night, then...
Right, because the offices.
Yeah, because they would have, then the answer is no. But then also, late at night in London is 5 hours ahead of where you would have been sworn in if it was in the East Coast, or 8 hours ahead off on the West Coast. Or if you're in Hawaii.
This sounds like
or if you're in Hawaii, I don't even know what that is. This is a mystery shrouded in a riddle.
This sounds like a immigration mystery.
Yeah, this is like if I was a professor in law school, I'd give this question to my students. It's actually very interesting. I don't know what the answer is because
they stumped you.
No, not that they stumped me. I know what the answer is because if he was a citizen,
all depends on the time.
It'd be on the time, and the answer is, how are we going to prove what time you swore in? Now, obviously, if the child was born early in the morning, say at 1 in the morning in London, you didn't swear in at 6 in the morning, even if you lived in East Coast. So then, child's a citizen. But let's say the child was born noon in London.
Right.
That could be 5, 6 o'clock East Coast time. Then you were not sworn in yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Most importantly, we're glad that he called in and that he helped him out, because none of these dates would align if he would have not called in.
All of these questions with time and space always freak me out. Whenever I watch any videos like physicists try to explain Albert Einstein to me. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm totally freaked out. and this is not even, it has nothing to do with physics. This is just time difference in 5 hours.
Yeah, and locations.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question.
Right.
Majda Halimi on YouTube. I'm a U.S. citizen living outside of the USA. I want to come to the U.S. to live, and I want to bring my 4 children. What should I do?
She's a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Okay. If
living outside of the U.S.
If you can prove that you were living in the United States for 5 years after your 14th birthday and prior to any of your children's births, then you take them into the U.S. Embassy, get them U.S. passports, they're U.S. citizens, and you all come back immediately. That to me is the fastest way. If not, then you would have to file visa petitions for your children and wait on their green cards, and then when they enter the U.S. with you, they would become automatic citizens. But presumably, if you were a citizen from when you were a younger person, then they would be automatic citizens. Or if you lived in the United States for any 5-year period before they were born, they would be U.S. citizens.
Susie Shaw on YouTube. If your visa is canceled for overstay, can you get it back, and how long before you can apply again?
You can always apply again, but ultimately, my guess is you'd be turned down unless you have some really crazy story about why you overstayed, because they're not going to give you a visa to overstay a second time. And you may even have a 3 or 10-year bar.
Sankei White on Facebook. Where are they with the priority dates? 2018 F1 parent filing for a daughter over 21.
They're 2014, 2015 area, so you're 3-4 years away.
Okay, Nisha J on YouTube. I sent in my VAWA application in October without my medical exam. Is it okay if I send in my medical exam right away when it's done, or should I wait until they ask for it?
Wait until they ask for it.
Anbu Shelvan on YouTube. When we file concurrently for VAWA application, do I have to submit an I-360, 485, 765, and 131 to Vermont, or can it be I-360 to Vermont and the rest of the forms to the NVC?
Send it all together one time.
Okay.
Into one place.
Pramit Maharjan on YouTube. I recently gave up on F1, but my wife didn't get a visa while on an F2. Now I have an I-140 and I-131 approved. Can my wife file for a B1, B2 visa? She is not included in my I-485 filing, but I filed as
They're not going to give your wife a B1, B2 visa if the husband is in the United States adjusting status, because they're going to say you're not coming here to visit, you're coming here to get a green card.
Novia James on YouTube. My daughter is over 21. I'm a green card holder. Can she get in school and get an adjustment of status?
No, because if you file for her, she's about 7-year backlog. So even if you filed for her, she's going to wait 7 years. So she would be out of status all these years living in the United States. Okay. Or she can wait at home for 7 years to ultimately come up.
And our last one for now on social media check-in is from Julio Verne, 2001. As a DACA recipient, can I get advanced parole to get a job as a flight attendant?
Yes. All right. So, New York City's first Japan Day Parade was held in May. Our very own Vanessa Nesquik Contreras was there to cover the entire event from start to finish, speak with the attendees and performers about the day, Japanese culture, achieving their American dream, and even you didn't have a discussion with George Takei.
I didn't get to, but we got a quick picture of him, but we didn't get to speak to him.
Well, next time you speak to him, the first question is, what was your position on the Enterprise? see how long that...
squad needs to know.
See how long that interview will last after that question. All right, let's watch.
Hey Brad Squad, Vanessa Contreras here at a very special event. It's New York City's very first Japan Day Parade. The year 2022 marks the 150th anniversary of the visit of the Japanese mission led by Tomomi in 1872, which resulted in the development of Japan-U.S. relations, which included the creation of the consulate in New York that same year. This year is also the 150th anniversary of the introduction of baseball to the U.S. from Japan, which remains an extremely popular sport to this day. In New York, ethnic groups from around the world have long held parades to showcase their rich culture and lifestyles to their communities. Although Japan Day has been celebrated in Central Park since 2007, today is the first time an actual parade will honor the Japanese people and their heritage. The organizers of today's event say the purpose of the Japan Parade is to further the friendship between U.S. and Japan, to express gratitude to New York City, and to strengthen the solidarity of the Japanese American community on this milestone anniversary. So come with me as we immerse ourselves in the beautiful culture of Japan. Let's go. Okay, Brad Squad, I am here at the Japan Day Parade with Seiko and Adam, who look absolutely stunning. How are you guys today?
I'm really good, thank you.
So, first and foremost, can you just share why you guys are here today?
Okay, so always I wanted to have this kind of performance long time, and then my friend Toshi Nakazawa, he's an amazing dancer who lives in New York, and he's performing a long time here. And I was talking about my dream so many times to him, and he picked this opportunity to make my dream come true. So always I wanted to have this Oiran Dochu performance in New York. So today our dream will come true.
All right, Brad Squad, I am here with Dustin, who is representing for their dance troupe today. Okay, so Dustin, if you could just share with me why you guys are here.
We're here because my mother, she's a dance teacher, and we've been doing this for like around 5 to 6 years, and we've gathered a lot of people, and we're here to just represent Japanese culture.
Okay, Brad Squad, I'm here with my new friend Mona. Mona's gonna share with us a little bit of why you're here today.
I'm here with the tea ceremony group, and it's a traditional Japanese choreography where you make and serve tea.
What's your favorite part about being a part of this group?
It's very philosophical, and it's like very calming. Like, I think it's a little meditative.
All right, squad, now this is when we really get to have some fun. I have bumped into a Hello Kitty brigade here. Okay, I'm here with my new friend Day. Day, what brings you to the Japan Parade today?
But we actually went to the Hello Kitty cafe truck in Flushing, and then we decided to head here right after. Yeah, so I really like J fashion and kawaii culture in general, which is what I have a huge passion for, and it's why I'm here today.
Okay, so share with me your passion for Hello Kitty, all the things.
So Hello Kitty started out as a kid show in Japan, and it widely turned into like a huge fandom after it got canceled. I think it started in the 1980s, and yeah, we're like huge fans of them because it represents everything happy, cuddly, cute, yeah.
What has been your favorite part of the parade today?
Definitely just getting to see other alternative dressed people, getting to run into mutuals and friends and make new friends. Oh, it makes me so happy. So George Takei passed by, and he told me that I was an African American geisha. Can you?
Okay, so I'm here with Ja from the New York Lolitas. Can you tell me why you guys are here today?
We march in the Japan Day Parade. We're the New York Lolitas group, so we run fashion events for Japanese street fashion, but particularly Lolita fashion in New York City.
Okay, and can you share with the squad what that means, Japanese street style, street fashion?
So Lolita fashion emerged in the 1970s through like the 1990s roughly, and it's a spring off of kawaii culture, so think like Sanrio and that type of stuff. You can kind of see it reflected a little bit in the styles. And yeah, we just all came to love it through different reasons. People were into anime or into fashion generally and just got into it, however.
What is something that you would want people to know more about Japanese culture?
If people think about Japanese culture, it's very like simple, always Japanese beauty is simple, quiet, subtle, but it's not only that. So we also have this kind of flashy, gorgeous entertainment. So Why not? I wanted to share, this culture to American people too.
Oh man, there's so many amazing things to experience in Japanese culture, from food to art to anime to so many things, and it's just unique. The Japanese culture is unique, and that's what's most fun about exploring it.
Japanese culture is very differential. Like, a lot of people think it's just one group, but there's, just like in America, there's a lot of states, and there's a lot of different things that we could do. We have unique foods, we have unique dances, as you could see from the parade, and I just want you guys to watch that as the parade goes on.
I think it's a really good mix of traditional and modernity. We have really cool old heritage and also technology. I think it's a really cool balance.
Can you share a little bit of your immigration story or your family's immigration story?
My mom is an artist and my dad is a musician, and they came here for university and they just lived here since then.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, I was professional dancer in Tokyo and I met him. Also, he's performing there and he's one of the Blue Man Group's performer. And we met and we loved, the performance each other and got married. And after I got my son, we decided to move back to US. So it was when I was 30 years old.
My goodness, that is so special.
My mother came here in New York around 20 to dance. So her main priority was dancing from the start. So, now that she's older, she has this group, and I think she did well with what she wanted to do.
Amazing. Being that you guys got to know each other in the performing arts, from your experience and then going into more Japanese art, how do you feel like that's expanded you as an artist?
Oh, it's definitely influenced me heavily. But in terms of me as an artist, I'm still just a performer in what I do in Blue Man Group. But she's a kimono dresser as well, and I also do photography. So probably the bulk of what I've been inspired is just from the photography. Doing kimono and people dressed in kimono is a really inspirational and beautiful art form. So it's wonderful to photograph.
Mona, being that your parents came from Japan, that makes you first generation. What does that mean to you?
When I was 12, I did a tea ceremony party and invited all my friends, and that was a really important moment for me.
Oh, happy day when Jesus washed. Oh yeah, and he taught me how to live and live rejoicing each and every day.
Now, Dustin, have you ever been to Japan?
I go every year. Besides when COVID started, I stopped going, but besides that, I went every year.
Amazing. And what did you love most?
I love the scenery and the aesthetic of the place. It's always sunny, a lot of friends there.
Okay, and I heard that someone around here has been to Japan.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that there is anything that could be a little more influential to American culture?
Yeah, I think thinking of other people, picking up after yourself, making sure there's not litter on the streets, thinking of your fellow person. I think that's a huge thing that could be adopted more here, and being considerate of other people around you.
Okay, do you share some of your experience while traveling to Japan?
Yeah, I was there in the mid 2000s, so it's been a while, but yeah, I really loved going shopping. I really loved exploring the popular culture. I got to go to a couple of live houses to hear some Visual Kei stuff that's kind of glam rock. Lots of pop culture stuff, really. I feel like there's a lot of American interest in kind of wacky Japan stuff, things that are weird about Japanese culture and emphasizing that. And I'd like for people to see Japanese culture, not just kind of the wacky stuff. Obviously, I love the wacky stuff, but I like people to see Japanese culture in more of its completeness, I guess.
So I'm here with Ashanti, who is another one of the New York Lolitas, and you've taken a trip to Japan. Can you share a little bit about your trip?
So basically, I was doing study abroad in Korea back in 2017 during undergrad, and it's Seoul is 2 hours away from Tokyo. So I did a little weekend trip.
And in your time there, what was something that stood out to you most?
I've loved Japanese culture since I was 3. So it was kind of ridiculous to see all the cultural references that I grew up watching in anime and grew up reading in manga and all the movies and stuff that I consumed as a kid kind of in person. It was a really cool experience.
And what do you feel Americans could learn more from Japanese culture?
funnily enough, my master's thesis actually includes Lolita and racial theory involving Lolita. I think one of the biggest things I wish Westerners would learn about all the weird and wacky aspects of Japan is the socio-political aspects of these things. A lot of Japanese girls in the 70s and 80s and 90s, they wore Lolita in a feminist way. A lot of them were told by Japanese men, oh, we're not going to want you if you dress this way. And then a lot of them in response was just like, we don't want you anyway. And it kind of makes me feel better that you don't want me. So there's a lot of really cool racial and gender and ethnic theory and sexuality theory aspects of all these like weird and wacky things that I really wish people could learn about.
Love that. Love that. Thank you, Ashanti. So much fun at the Japan Day Parade today. I've met so many new friends. We have immersed in so much culture. I cannot wait to come back next year. Back to you guys at the studio.
Oh, that was a really good job there.
Back to me at the studio.
Yeah.
I loved doing that.
What
that
was
so
it, the
good.
New York Lolitas? Is that what they were called?
Yeah. I didn't even know. I learned so much about Japan.
They
that
were
day.
really smart. The last one, I don't remember her name, but gave a really
Great
smart
answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that was really cool. And why is Mr. Met in the Japanese Day Parade? What does he have to do with Japan, Mr. Met? Japan and baseball.
Come on. Come on.
I'm like, why is Mr. Met there?
Baseball.
Oh my God. All right. They love baseball. Okay, got it. All right, speed rounds. Are we ready?
Listen, it's been a while, but I believe in us.
Let's try not to blow up on our first day back.
You try, no pressure. You try not to blow us up on our first day back. I have to say, I missed all our jingles. Honestly.
Yeah. The song? You missed the song?
Yeah, I missed all our jingles. Okay, so 50 seconds is up.
Yeah, 10. What are we doing? 9 questions or 10? 10 questions in 50 seconds.
10 seconds.
Got it.
10 questions in 50 seconds. Alrighty, Brad, here I go.
Wait.
How long does it take to respond to an RFE for I-539?
At least 120 days.
Can unpaid hospital bills affect adjustment of status?
No.
Can a co-sponsor become another case co-sponsor?
Yes.
How long does it take to get a notice after I-485 AOS employment based?
At least 6 months for a work permit.
Are conditional green card interviews being waived?
Sometimes.
What forms are needed to file for AOS through marriage?
I-45, I-130, I-138, I-864, I-765, I-131.
How long does it take for the DNA test results?
At least 4 months, 6 months.
If I had an ITIN number before I was married, what should I do now?
Get a social security number and contact the IRS and tell them that you have a now social.
Is it okay to have a VAWA extension 3 times?
Yes.
Can someone seeking asylum apply for a work permit after 6 months? This game used to be 9 questions in 50 seconds, so we would have had it then.
We now do 10. I just got out of the hospital and you just blew me up and put me back in the hospital.
That was a lot of forms. That was a lot of forms.
Yes.
But so let's answer the last one.
Question?
Can someone seeking asylum apply for a work permit after 6 months?
You apply after 150 days, but you won't get it till 180 days.
It was the iOS through marriage one. Which forms are needed to file?
That was the long one?
Yeah. You did every form.
I said it as fast as humanly possible.
No, you did great. And you could understand what you were saying.
You did?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, better luck next time, as they say.
That was first
We'll
time
go
back.
home and lick our wounds and come back again.
That's who we are here.
That's how we do it here. All right. Comments of the day.
Comment of the day. Yes, we always love hearing from the squad, so just know that we are looking out in the comments always, always. First one comes from Marcia Masala saying, I just love Me My Brad show. You get all the information on this show.
Oh, thank you.
You sure do. Okay, next one from All right, one of our veterans, Jessica Leamy Joel Davis. She's not Joel Reed anymore.
No, she got married.
I'm excited that the squad is back, but what I miss the most is the callers. They not only call for information, but they also make my night.
Okay, good.
Okay, next one comes from It's Apple Pie saying, hey,
it's Apple Pie.
Hey, Brad, lovely to see you again and to be a part of this phenomenal family again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm happy to be back as well.
Yes, me
Yes.
too.
It's Apple Pie always makes me hungry.
It's Apple Pie, I know.
As soon as I see It's Apple Pie, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry.
I love apple pie.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, next one from another VIP. Miloslav Minkov saying, finally, the Brad Squad is back. I really missed you guys. I'm so glad Uncle Brad is okay. And also, hey, Vanessa, we missed you too. Truly the best immigration show.
Thank you.
And we have one more.
What?
Coming from Willie L. Williams saying Sulu was the navigation officer. He later became the captain of his own.
This is George Takei. Willie L. Williams, an avid Star Trek fan, and George Takei eventually got to be captain
of his own ship.
I wonder if he went after the Enterprise.
I mean,
by the way,
considering the beef he had on there.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would want to be on that Enterprise. Captain Sulu's coming after you. He did have a beef with William Shatner. It's a true story. Why do I know that? But I don't know what he did on Star Trek. It's funny.
Because it's Tuesday, and we're here for the tea.
Exactly. By the way, Vanessa, not to put you on the spot, did anybody win any Bradshaw Live Cups?
Any mugs? I don't know if we shared enough today, so the next time.
So there was no winners today. But
there weren't.
But we said the first two people who were.
The first two people.
And that was, we don't remember who they were anymore now.
But we will.
We will check again who the first two comments were and make sure you guys get your cups.
Yep.
Right?
I was trying to see if I could catch it now. No, it's too many comments.
Too many comments. We'll go back and check it. So we'll announce next week who won.
You mentioned the names earlier, so when we watch the replay.
Yeah.
Anushandra on YouTube. Yeah, because we took the first person on YouTube and we took the first person on Facebook.
All right, we'll reach out to you guys. We'll check it out and see.
Yeah, and we'll send you your mug.
And by the way, just for the month of November, we'll see how it goes for November, but for the month of November, we're doing this once a week. So you're going to see us back live again the same exact time on Tuesday, November 8th. Set your clock. Tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell grandma to set their clock to watch us next Tuesday, sometime a little after 6 p.m. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, Squad.
So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK, 1-800-529-5465.
What are you doing?